I communicated this information to Jack and Jill, who still hoped they could bring the seller down on price. Their response? "We really want the house, Roy, but don't want to overpay for it." Now Jack and Jill had a dilemma. It was likely they needed to come in strong with a good offer early on in order to decrease the chances of losing out and to win the house they wanted so much. That's because any offer they made would now need to better the one from another family who might be dealing with a similar situation while dealing with our same housing market. This continued my discussion with Jack and Jill about any forthcoming offer they might make. In our conversation, and as a protection of sorts, I noted that even if they overpaid, the property would still need to appraise for the amount of their accepted offer. If it didn't, they could use their appraisal contingency to back out. But first, they would need to write an offer that the sellers would accept. I boiled it down to this. Jack, of course the decision is all yours and Jill's, and I'm happy to handle things however you'd like. As things currently stand, you and Jill have several options. One is to try to get a bargain and run the risk of being beat out by the other buyer. Another option is to make the best offer you can, where you stand a better chance of at least having your offer accepted. Then, even if you think you overpaid, you could still wait to see what the appraisal says and decide from there. I then detailed to Jack that based on how their offer was written, if the home didn't appraise correctly, they would then have the option to either 1. Terminate the transaction, 2. Try to renegotiate the price, or 3. If the appraisal came in low and they still wanted the house, even if the seller wasn't flexible, they could then decide to move forward or not with the purchase once they were then armed with more information, such as if the appraisal was only a little low and otherwise one they could accept. Alternatives are empowering. If Jack and Jill had been purchasing in a more buyer-friendly buyer's market and not a seller's market, and or if their school district options and home checklists were more flexible, they likely would have felt more empowered. Under that scenario, Jack and Jill could have had more negotiating room. But they didn't, and the home they wanted was indeed beautiful. In fact, the property seemed perfect for them. Now they needed to establish what would constitute a fair price. The conversation went something like this. "What do you think we should offer?" Jack and Jill asked. I responded with some insights I've learned as a full-time realtor since 1988. I said, with the addition of a second buyer, especially in a seller's market, the end result is virtually unknowable. That is, no one can be 100% certain of what it will take in order to get this house. Instead, we're dealing in the realm of likelihoods. These other buyers may be from out of state or possibly have sold another home for a significant amount and scaling down. If so, what might be seen by some as a high price may not be such a financial reach for them. I then continued. The issue may also become not only price, but perhaps meeting some of the seller's other possible hot-button needs. For example, if the other buyer's offer on the house you want is all cash, without a loan or appraisal involved, we're then not only dealing with the realm of price, but also the seller's reliance on the likelihood of the sale closing once the property is off the market. So because we don't know any of those factors, what we can do is work within highest degrees of likelihood. So the cleaner and more forgiving your offer, and the higher you are on the price, especially if you offer above the list price, the greater your chances of getting the house. What happens next? Jack and Jill discussed their options and decided they were in it to win it. As a result, we wrote a clean, more than full price offer, and it was accepted. I later learned the other offer was indeed strong, but Jack and Jill's offer had been accepted by the seller mainly due to the added amount they'd offered over the home's list price. We had been working with a price-sensitive seller whose other concerns were dwarfed by price. A happy ending. Jack and Jill are now enjoying life in their new home and are raising their 3 kids in a beautiful and much larger house with a nice yard. They're very happy in their home, and while the process was stressful at times, they're also glad they moved forward on their home purchase with both clarity and focus.